Hey guys, welcome back. I have Assiniboia for tonight, and this track has been pretty good as far as this whole setup and everything. And I think one of the reasons over the course of this meet with Assiniboia that the numbers have been pretty accurate is simply because you run into very few intangibles there. It's like cutting through butter when you're handicapping this track. There's not a ton of distances there. They only run on dirt. So you're not getting horses coming from all over the place, trying turf for the first time and trying dirt for the first time. They're pretty much their own colony as far as the horses. They run every couple weeks, so it's not like they're taking long layoffs. And usually they're sticking to their distance or close to it. So it's it's one of those little bull ring tracks. It's 6.5 furlongs. So a 7 furlong race at that place is actually a 2-turn race. And you're also seeing, again, horses that are the 7 and 7.5 furlong horses are the ones that are consistently running in those 2-turn races. There are a few mile races mixed in here and there. And your sprinters are usually staying, in your sprint races. So it's a pretty good track to handicap when you're using factors like these, because you don't really have to reach back and multiple races to find your target rating. It's usually right there. You really don't have to toss any races out unless it was a bad trip and the comments tell you. So we'll see if we remain consistent here tonight at Assiniboia Downs on September 11th. So let's check out race number 1. Race number 1 is a 6 furlong race. There's only 6 horses in this race. And we'll take a look. The 5 horses scratched out of this race. So there's not a lot of scratches tonight either. I think that might be the only scratch as of right now. So we have a 5-horse field in race number 1. And the matrix side of the grid, I went with the 6-4-3-2. And the 6, because he's my target horse. And the only time I will not favor my target horse is when he's not really showing up elsewhere. Like if he showed up one time in yellow as a runner-up somewhere else, and there was somebody else showing up in blue multiple times, I would probably put my target horse as my second choice. But here he shows up as in top target. He's obviously the top target, and he's also the top target Briz number, and he shows up third actually in ability, and second in final fraction rating. So he is my top play on this side of the grid. And then I had a choice to make between the 4 and the 3. The 3 horse does show up twice as top point getter in categories, whereas the 4 horse only comes out once. But what I did was I went with my TC ratings on this side of the grid to separate these two. I have 6, 4, 3, and then again this TC rating gave me my 4th choice as the 2. On this side, the only difference is the 2 and the 3 are flipped, because of the qualitative points changing the rating on this 2 horse. The 2 is actually my 3rd choice on this side. We have a 6, 4, 2, and then a 3. So we have the same 4 numbers. It is a 5-horse race. I mean, I don't know what kind of value you're going to get in this race, but I would recommend, if you're playing off of this chart here, to obviously take a look at these 4 horses and see if one of them potentially presents a 9-2 or better value on the win play, and maybe put a small win bet on it. There's no multi-wagers other than the double that starts in race number 1. So, I mean, that might just be a sit back and watch race. Now let's move to race number 2. Race number 2 is a 5.5 furlong sprint. Optional claimer, 10,000. And as I said before, if you notice, the sprinters usually stick to the sprints. And it's pretty easy to handicap these races. Well, we do have one horse coming out of a mile race here, but we don't have a ton of them where you have to decide whether you want to pass on the race or not. So let's take a look at the grid. The grid tells me 7, 3, 2, 4. Let's look at the 7. The 7 is a standout in target ability and target Briz. So the 7 is my top choice, obviously, there. And then I had some decisions to make here with the 2 and the 3. I went with the 3 because the 3 is showing up is first in the speed cube average over top of the 2. And he's also beating out the 2 in the TC rating on this side by a few tenths of points. But we have 7, 3, 2, and then the 4 is my top final fraction horse. And I will, when I'm evaluating this side of the grid, I will only use the ratings as separators. Even though the 5 does show up as a better rating, I will go with the 4 here as my 4th choice. And on this side, the 2 horses coming off a double move last out, so he's getting 2 more points added to his TC rating just for that reason. And then he's also got a trainer notation. So he has 3 points added to the 83.9, which puts him on top over here. And once again, over here, I'm ranking them in favor of highest to lowest in the top 4 in my overall TC rating when the qualitative data is figured into it. So we have a 2, 3, 4, 7. Same 4 plays, just different order. And as I said before, the order doesn't necessarily mean much. The only time it's going to mean something to me is if I'm looking for a single in a pick 4, or even if I'm looking to narrow down a pick 4 to 2. This would not be a race where I would narrow it down to 2 because my top 2 on this side is 3, 7. My top 2 on this side is 2, 3. The 7 doesn't show up till 4th. So if this was a leg of a pick 4 or a multi-race wager, I would probably go 4 deep in this race simply because of the placement of this 7 horse and so forth. All right. Race number 3. Race number 3 is a 6 horse field. We have the 5, 6, 1, 2. And again, this was a toss up here, and I went with my target horse over the 6, the 5 horse. 5, 6, 1, 2. And over this side, I have the 1, 6, 5, 2. Again, the double move on the 1, along with the trainer note, gives his horse an additional 3 points, which puts him on top over here at 80.9, making him my top choice on this side of the grid. Once again, however, we do have the same 4 choices. It is only a 6 horse field, but it's nice to see that at least it's narrowed down to 4 of the 6, and we don't have a 5th horse somewhere over here that didn't show up over here. So we have 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 6, 5, 2. Race number 4. And by the way, race 3, in this, when they have 7 races like they do tonight, race 3 does start the 20-cent pick 5. And if I do play it, I may just go with the 1, 5, 6 to start it out. Next race here, the 2 and the 3, showing well on the matrix factor side of the grid, along with the 7 and the 5 as the runner-ups. So we have a 2, 3, 7, 5. And on this side, we have the 2, 3, 8, 5. Okay, the 8 does figure as my 3rd in TC rating, and the 5 figures as my 4th. But right now, my pick 5 might look like a 1, 5, 6 over a 2, 3. And here we may have the single. Okay, being that the 6 horse is standing out in 4 of the 5 main categories on the matrix side. And he's also the top TC rating horse. This might be a good race to go with the single, the 6. That way we can stretch it out a little bit with the final 2 legs. All right, especially with the final 2, the last leg. You'll get there. We'll see. We have 5 horses in this mix. We have the 6, 1, 4, 9 on this side, and then the 5 comes into play to replace the 9 on this other side. But let's take a look at race 6. Race 6, as I said, the 6 is the standout. 6, 8, 5, 4, matrix side. 6, 5, 8, 3 on the TC rating side, or the overall side, I should say. Race 6, little bit of a little chaos over here. We have the 6, 7, and the 8 showing up. The 6 horse is my target horse, so again, I'm going to take my target over top of anybody else as my top play, and he does happen to be the top TC rating horse on this side as well as this side. So the 6 is my top play also in race number 6, with a close second being the 7 horse. All right, so this is not a race where I would just single the 6. I would single the 6 more in this race. However, the 8 is a horse to watch out for as well. He is showing up in these categories. But again, I'm trying to keep my tickets at a budget type level. And I am looking to single. And I'm looking for that race that's going to point me to the best possible single. So I probably will take my chance if I play a pick 5 with the single in race number 5. Back to the 6th again. We have a 6-7-8-2, 6-7-8-5. So I'm not going to go 5 deep in this race. I would probably do a 6-7-8 and finish up with going 5 deep here. Even though I do have 4 horses that I tossed in this race, this is a 9-horse field. I kept 5 horses as contenders, and if I had to eliminate, I would eliminate the 5 and the 9 simply because they don't show up in any of the factors on this side. But they show up enough where the 9 is actually my 4th choice over here. And the 5 is actually my 4th choice over here. So if my ticket looked like this, a 1-5-6, with a 2-3, with a 6, with a 6-7-8, oh, the 6, let me get this 6, pull it over, and then all 5 down there, which was the 1, 4, 5, 6, 9. We're looking at a 5 times 3 is 15, 45.90. That would be an $18 ticket right there for a 20-cent wager. And that just might be what I do tonight. Let's see how it goes. All right, so again, Assiniboia tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. Oh, and by the way, any newcomers, I see I'm getting some new subscribers. Any newcomers who are watching this and they haven't watched past videos, and you kind of want to get in on the whole like skinny of how to do this, in the description below I have the downloadable link for thorough capping, and I also have the link, an invite link for the Discord, which there's a lot of good stuff going on in the Discord as well. As I mentioned in other videos, we got a lot of contributors in there, people playing around with different ideas, experimenting with this factor, experimenting with that factor, and just kind of really bringing a light to the Discord. So everyone's welcome, and hope to talk to you soon.